So, welcome Matías.
Maui for the first time.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm gonna need this or
You don't have to use it.
maybe not. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm taller.
Yeah. Yeah. Here.
You're on a pedestal there.
How about there?
Oh, there.
Is that good?
That's Thank you.
We're streaming it on Facebook. Thanks. Yeah.
Well, nice to be here and to be invited by Dan and Brenda. You know, they first the first time they listened to me. I was speaking Spanish, I guess. Yeah, and they Dan trusts what I said, so he's following me everywhere. So I really appreciate that he is still helping me to bring this message and to talk in English, because it's not my first language. I'm from Argentina. I used to speak for Spanish people, Spanish and Latin people, and maybe 2% of the people that follows me speak in English. So I don't do anything in English, and I don't have nobody to practice to. So I'm kind of a little bit nervous, because it's one of the first times I'm trying to explain everything in English. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself, because of course I don't think nobody knows me. Well, yeah, sure. Well, my name is Matías. I was born in a small town in Argentina. It's called Venado Puerto, one idea. It's a weird name. And since I was born, I had this I don't know how to call it, ability or cursed. So I can't remember everything I've done before I was born. I never forgot what I was doing before I got in my mom's womb. I could remember everything. It's not remembering, but I knew what I was doing before. My jobs, other lives, other dimensions, other realities, all the things that I've done before I came here. And since I was a baby, I had to learn not only what my culture and my family was teaching me, but also there were another beings, invisible beings from other dimensions, teaching me how not to forget what I knew. So they were all the time around me and explaining me how to understand human emotions, human body, how to be in relation with other people. They taught me how to understand the world, the nature, animals, and the stars, everything. And they used to tell me, you have to remember. You don't have to forget. You have to remember. So when I was a child, during my whole childhood, I was trying to understand this world, like if I was on vacation, on holidays in this planet, trying to understand humans and all this and myself. And I think that when I was 21 years old, I realized that I was a human. So at that moment I accepted. I said, okay, this is it. I'm lost. But anyway, I have this this thing that until I was 12 years old, I was learning from those beings, or remembering from those beings, how to react to this planet, to this world. And they were teaching me small things, and to recognize the importance of small things in this reality, like rain, breathing, all these simple things that were important to understand and to get in touch with others. They taught me about, of course, emotions, which they say emotions are the books of memory. They say the only way you can remember something is through the emotion. So you need to know how to handle emotions in order to remember better everything. So, that was one of the teachings I received from them. And then when I was 12 years old, I started remembering, indeed. Before it was just like a kid trying to understand himself and trying to understand other dimensions that were explaining things. But since I was 12 years old, one of those beings told me, tomorrow you will start remembering everything you have done in past lives. So you won't see us again, you just do whatever we taught you. So when I was 12 years old, I started to remember mostly a life 12,000 years ago, which for me is the most important life I've ever lived. Not because it was an important time, because it is the reflection of this life I have now. 12,000 years ago was the mirror of what I am doing now. And everything that I couldn't accomplish 12,000 years ago, I'm trying to do it now. So 12,000 years ago, I was a woman. I was pretty. I was how to say, the granddaughter of an Atlantean, an immigrant. I was born in what now you call Egypt, but Egypt doesn't exist. It was another culture called the Chem. And Chem was a colony of Atlantean people, which we call the Kef, or Kefu. These people used to, well, they knew everything about reality, but not much. That's why they ate it. So, and we as a colony tried to accomplish what they couldn't do. So we started a civilization according to what the gods said what we're supposed to do. But during this civilization, my grandfathers were building this civilization, and I was just another one living there. But what I was supposed to do in that life is to try to help not to fall the network. We call it the network of consciousness around the world. And it was said that at that time the network would be shut down. So in order to that to not happen, we're supposed to look for a new place and a new time to reestablish that network after the time of disconnection. So they said the moment to do that is the reflection time. And the reflection time for the universe is almost 12,000 years. So we were working on trying to connect that network, or not it to fall down. So because we couldn't do it, we had to wait 12,000 years to start it again. So now. So that's why I'm a little bit nervous, because if I don't do it now, I have to wait 12,000 years ago. Anyway, the universe has a lot of time, but when you are a person, it's like, wow, 12,000 years again. So I'm trying to do this right now. The thing is that that all this reflection of time and space that we had makes that life the key of what I'm doing now, which are all the projects of my life, which is to reestablish the network of consciousness. But as my guide said, the consciousness only awakes when you remember who you are. And to remember who you are, you need to open all the books. And all the books are the emotions. And because we are a civilization that are ruled by emotions, but we don't know how to handle them, so we need to understand how to handle the self in order to understand who we are. And after understanding who we are, we can reconnect the network and to understand, so we can help the planet to understand who she is, the planet, and then start and reestablish the network again. So it is a 200 years work, so I won't see the finish of that work. Maybe, I don't know. I hope no, I hope to die before. Yeah, it's funnier there. So, little mentions. But the thing is that that I knew that I came to this reality, to this planet, to help others to remember. And remember has different meanings. I guess in English is the same root than in Latin and Spanish. Remember comes from the words remember, which is re is again, another time, and member is parts. Yeah. So when we say remembering, we say putting all the parts together. That's what it means. So it's like a puzzle. You need to put all the parts together. And all these parts that were split around the world is every part of our soul living every life. So we have, in different times and in different spaces, parts of ourselves that have to be together to understand the self. The self is not just us here, Matías. The self is not me. It's me, myself 900 years ago, myself 12,000 years ago, myself 12,000 years ahead. And me living in Egypt, here in South Africa, wherever, in many places. So that we used to call twin souls. But because we live in a Christian reality, we believed 2,000 years that twin soul is our partner. But no, this is cultural. Twin soul is a part of ourselves which is not our couple normally. Well, I advise not to, because that brings a lot of problems. So putting all the parts together, they said, remember. So I have these three missions, which is remember for myself, remember who I was and all the information, and to help others to remember who we are, where do we came from, and where are we going to. And the second is remember, which is put all the parts together to reunite and reconnect all these parts. And the third one, remember, is to be again a member. It's something like that. But in Latin and Spanish, the word is very specific. In Spanish is recordar, which means recordis in Latin. Cordis means heart. So it's return to the heart. That's what remember in Spanish means, or in Latin. So return to the heart. So this is the third one. The only way you can put all the parts together and to remember who you are is if you go again to your heart. But it's not this heart, it's here. Celibate is the heart of the being, which is not the biological heart. So the heart of the being is the self, which is in between the plexus and the heart. So this spot here is the core or the center of the whole being in every part. Yeah, the middle point. So reconnect all the parts is to put this finger again here and all these parts that are separated from the whole planet and the universe and from myself. So since I was 21, I started to study pedagogy, to teach in school, to help other kids that were remembering how to remember properly. So I wanted to help people in education, because education is the main core of everything. So, but when I was doing this, teaching this education, suddenly I was asked by another people, where do I took this information from? I was in the university, and I was explaining, no, I remember it. That was a problem. So I had to leave the school. But other people start to ask me, but when, how, where? So I start to explain other people how do I remember. So I start to give conferences and invited to many places, other countries, and many conferences, workshops, and all that, to explain this philosophy, which is not the philosophy, is my life, and try to explain it neutrally, so people could understand information, but not the emotion that I have from that. So recently I used to speak about my memories in other lives, but at the first times I used to explain neutrally everything I could. So so since I was 21, I started to teach other people the scheme of the universe as I remember. And also I was explaining this, that everything I remember from other dimensions and all other realities is just the 0.01% of everything. So it's almost nothing. But what I remember used to help others to understand its own 1%. So it's kind of a program. My program is kind of a program to put other programs in its place. Something like that. So it's my truth is not that truth. That's what I mean. It's just a program to help others to recognize its own truth. So so that's why when I started at my 21 years old to explain all this, I used to begin the speeches saying, don't believe anything I'm going to say. Because it's not true. It's just what I saw coming from the source of the universe through here. But if you came from other place, maybe you will see that this is not your truth. So the great problem we have in this universe is that nobody has the truth, but everyone has it. So that's a great problem. That's a real problem, because the problem is that emotionally you remember through emotions a truth. So when you hear something different from what you feel, you think it's a lie or it's wrong because it's not my emotion. So that makes it difficult to put all the ideas together, because everyone thinks that they have the truth, and indeed they have, but just a tiny part of it. So that's why the most important thing is to have a really wide open mind, to listen whatever, and to say, okay, but not to have it, because it's not ours. It's the truth of others. So in my case, what I'm trying to do is to say, yeah, Muslims are right, atheists are right, the science is right, Christians are right, everyone is right. So, but we have to see which points are the ones that connect us all. Because everyone is right like this, but their truth is like this. The only truth is like this, that transversal, they cut everything, and they will say the same truth, but in different frequencies. the universe has only three tools to explain everything. The first one is the frequency. The second is the energy, and the third one is the matter. So we have three different tools to understand the reality. And the first one, which is frequency, is the most difficult to accomplish, to understand, because everyone is in a different frequency, vibrating different frequency. So it doesn't matter if we speak the same truth. If someone speaks loud and someone speaks low, they would never understand each other. So, but they are saying the same. So the same thing happened with our beliefs and everything. So the job that we, the librarians, as they call it in the universe, had was to open all the books and say, and try to have this higher information and lower it so the other could understand, and put this up, the other one up, so they could understand each other, even if they after that do whatever. But this job is not it's not constant in the universe. When the universe started, it was just one spot. It was just one tiny little speck that has the whole reality. But it's what we call the glory, or someone called God, or universe, or the power, the source, everything, the everything. But the problem with everything is that if you know everything and you feel everything, it gets a little bit bored. Yeah? Because you have everything, you do everything, you know everything, so what's the point? Yeah? So the thing was that we naturally were the source of everything. So we had to go outside the source to understand ourselves from another perspective. So it is just one eye separated in two to can see outside and understand the inside through the reflection. So it's one reality, but when we open our eyes, we have thousands of perspectives to understand one. So this reality we call the matrix. This is the name. Matrix from Latin means uterus. So the mother, universe, the mother of everything. So the creation of the matrix is the feminine aspect of the universe, which is creating realities once and again, once and again. And it makes confusion. So it makes also darkness. But darkness, at the beginning of the universe, it was not what we believe in darkness. Darkness was the architects of the universe. The darkness were the ones that built everything we know, everything we live, we feel, we believe. So they created everything so we could understand each part of the whole. And then we have these light workers that went into the dark to set some paths, some roads around the universe. So when you are too lost, you can see a light, and you say, okay, if I go to that light, maybe I can go centered and understand where I am. So this light and dark works for only one reason, to understand ourselves. So it's not something that was a war like we believed in the past 2,000 years. It's not light and dark against each other, but they are just creating new realities so we could understand each other. So in between those spots of creation, positive and negative, we have the middle point, which is neutrality. And neutrality can be lived just a few moments in reality. Because when you lived in the reality of matter, you are a creator all the time. You create, transform, transcend. Every time you are creating stuff. So to get into neutrality, you have to go outside your body. You have to go outside the matter. So it's just a moment in meditation, in ayahuasca, whatever. But you go outside the body and you see neutrality. And suddenly, maybe you felt that, I understand everything. And suddenly you fell down into the body and said, well, I can't understand anything now. Yeah? Because you became separated again. So why is that moment of neutrality? That moment of neutrality is just useful when you are too lost to understand where you are going or why are you living this reality. When you don't know why you are here or where to go, when you have no idea about anything. So that moment of neutrality, which is like enlightenment, we call it enlightenment. Yeah? And enlightenment is not a path of spirituality. Maybe you are washing the dishes and you got enlightened. It's not something that has a dogma. It's not something to meditate or to work hard for it. It's just the moment when you realize that you don't exist and you can be outside yourself. And when you're outside yourself, you can see every possibility of who you are. So you understand that if you are suffering, you say, I know why. And you solve it like this, quickly. But those moments of neutrality, which we were working to in the universe, waving the web of the consciousness, is just to remember that we are in moments, specific moments of the time and space, where we have to choose in between many paths. Yeah, it's like we are coming from one path or many paths, and suddenly we have this spot where it's split in many others. So we have plan B, plan A, plan C, plan D, yeah? And we are standing there and we have no idea where to go. So this moment of neutrality is a moment when you can think about where I came from, what are all the other paths that I could take, and all this here and now made me choose another path. So it's not for all the times. Neutrality is just for moments specifically. And we have codes that tells us where are these moments. But the first thing that we have to know is that time and space are like light and darkness. They are just an illusion to help us to understand reality. So when we say in a specific time is in a specific frequency, when we all are aligned, and when we say in a specific spot is the perspective that many are looking at, but it's not a spot specifically. So the only way you can understand those moments is by reflection. When you recognize that the outside is a reflection from the inside. And when you do that, you understand the patterns. We were the builders of the universe, so a few of us who remember a little bit of what it was, knows that the only patterns that we have in the universe to understand reflection is this. It's very easy. They are very easy. We call these lines here of the geometry, we call them missions of our lives. So we have a mission which is go from here to here. This is a mission. And then we have a purpose. This is a purpose. The purpose is to discover why do I have to do all these missions? Yeah. So when you accomplish the purpose, you return to yourself, which is remember. I am. To put all the members together. So this way to understand the universe is the way of geometry. It's neutral. Doesn't have emotion, doesn't have spirit, doesn't have soul. It has only truth, which is lines, spots, and that's it. The geometry is the only way to understand everything in the universe, and every shape of the geometry has a vibration, and that vibration we call emotion. So that's why we relate the emotions with an enlightenment, with sadness, with the spot we are in the process. We relate it with an emotion. So emotions are like a map to understand where we are inside this. So when you know why do you have these emotions, you can understand where are you in this map, kind of. So the thing is that the moments, the time and space here, in this moment here, the reflection that I was talking about is time and space in this reality. It says that, for example, we are here is 12,000 years ago, and this is 12,000 years ahead. Yeah? And this is our time now. So we are coming through this process towards this one here. But in order to follow this path and not doing this, yeah, and make a mistake. Well, not mistake, the universe doesn't have mistakes. The universe see this as fun.
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 Yeah, because if you go straight, it's quick. So it's finished. 12,000 years, that's nothing. Yeah? But 12,000 years, oh, it was not here. 12,000 years, oh, it was not here. 12,000 years, so the universe says, wow, how many things I can do. So this is fun. The problem is when this is not fun, when we are doing this, when you are here and we are doing this. This is not fun. Yeah, we call it karma. Yeah, the wheel of karma. We call it the wheel of the wheel because everything you do brings you exactly to the same spot. So the same people, the same emotion, the same things all the time. So, but you're never moving. You're all the time here. So that's when you say, when this emotion comes up and says, when this is gonna be ended, I don't want to live this reality anymore. Have it happen sometimes? When that happens sometimes, it's because you are here in this roller coaster. Here. Rolling, rolling. And there's something that you are not seeing. There's something that you are not paying attention to. Which is, if I feel that, why I'm here again, it's because you are just turning around to yourself all the time. And you are not moving inside all this shape. So when you start moving, this became really fun and really weird. Because moving towards this shape, it brings transformation. And one of the things that biological beings like us have is that the only way that we exist is by evolution. So we have to change. But the only way that we subsist is by not changing, which we call culture. So we say, if we change, we die. We cannot go further. We have to be together in the group, believe the same, because otherwise we could die. But evolution is moving forward. So the body says, I need to change, but the body says, not much, because otherwise I can die. So this duality that we are living here is really fun. And we call it the process of healing. That's why we are now on the process of healing, because we are here in this spot, and that's why so many people in the planet are asking why I do what I do, who am I, what is the problem of my family, where I came from. I have to heal my whole tree of life. We start to do all this path of recognition of ourselves because we are in this spot of question. The most important thing in the universe is this rather than this. Because question is the only thing that brought the universe to what it is now. Is the only thing. So it's important to jump into the void. That's evolution. It's like, let's see what happens. So I used to say since I was a kid that I was afraid of this planet. This planet is one of the most complicated I've ever been. I remember another planet I've lived, and this is the most enjoyable. This is really fun, this planet. You have many things to do, and everything's changing all the time. There was another planet that to do this, it was not 12,000 years. In 12,000 years, you maybe can live like, I don't know, like 100 lives, maybe 100 lives, and change 100 lives, body, family, culture. You can learn a lot of things, but there are some planets that 12,000 years is just childhood. Yeah, so that's really boring. Yeah, 12,000 years doing the same and just learning one thing. So coming to this planet is something that makes us be afraid, but also it's an honor. It's an honor to be in this planet because this is fast. This is like Disney. The Disney for spirituality is Earth. So everyone wants to come here. Everyone wants to live once here. The problem is that there are too many people doing this. So the people like me used to come here to help to remember that we are in this spot in order to go to these other 12,000 years. So we have to heal and finish what we hadn't finished in this 12,000 years before. And how to do it. So this point here we call neutrality. We cannot go to this spot here without integrating the other points that hold us, which is, for example, other religions, other philosophies, other beliefs, other people, partners, family, whatever. So if we don't integrate all that, we are not going to the core, to the center. So this is not just for us, for people. This is a design for everything. So remember, return to the heart is something that we individuals have to do as a process that is eternal. It's not something that is for this life and next life you are enlightened and that's it, holidays. No, this is not for humans. This is the universe. This is for ever. This is forever. The only thing that you see that sometimes when you say the word forever, it scares us a little bit because the universe is eternal. So that's why the universe split in many different parts. So we are limited because limits are good for us. Limits says, okay, I know that I have to go from here to there, so I can organize my life towards that. So I know that someday it will finish. It will be finished. So this helps us biologically to put like moments. Like for example, spring, summer, winter, and autumn. There are moments in the reality that helps us to know that here we can do something, here we can do something, but when the universe is eternal, you are free. So it's like being a Pisces all the time. I don't know if you know about astrology, but being a Pisces all the time is like you don't understand anything. You don't know you know where you are. You are just floating in the universe, you know, and living from dreams. So so you don't have limits in your mind. So the universe needs limits so it could survive, so it could understand itself and watch itself through mirrors. So these mirrors that we have here are the clue to understand what we have to do. So we are here, and this mirror of 12,000 years, 12,000 years and 12,000 years tell us something. If we here have reached a moment in our society that we are connected again, we have Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'm not talking about spirituality. I'm talking about Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, Facebook, the network. We have satellites and all that, and cables around the oceans that connect us all like never before. But we've been connected before. 12,000 years ago, we've been connected in a whole network of consciousness. Now we call it internet. Before we call it protikta. Protikta was this, but around the planet. And we have, like now we have computers or sources of information around the world. We also had this in the past. We call it volcanoes and pyramids. Yeah, so we searched for places where the geometry of the planet told us that that was a core of information. So special hills, mountains, special pyramids, secret places in the world, they are in this network. So people 2,000 years ago used that network to understand itself and to talk with other people around the world, like we do now. So this is the reflection. This is the falling of Atlantis. So if this is 12,000 years ago, the falling of Atlantis, so that means that something is going to fall in this time too, a new Atlantis. So whoever is ruling the network today is going to fall. So after 12,000 years ago, the people that came after that had to look for ways to keep connected besides the disconnection. So when we are falling now as a civilization again, the next step of us, the people that are aware of this, we have to know how are we going to do the work to reconnect or to maintain this connection in the whole planet. So for what? Not just for our kids in the future, but for ourselves 12,000 years in the future. Because we are going to be aware about this again 2,000 years in the future. So this is like doing a homework for something that we have to find in the future. But as I say, 12,000 years in the universe is nothing. It's just like this. So it's like the same life. This is remember. is to look in the future, the answers to solve the problem of the past, to solve it in the present. The reality is connected by the flow of space and time. Time is the flow of the emotions that hold the energy and the memory of the whole system. And we have these spots here. For example, we can say this is Hawaii, and this is Alaska, and this is Norway, and this is South Africa. We can call it like that. Yeah, that every spot is a sacred spot in the world, and the flux of time is the only one that connects them all the time through the lives of people that goes to those places. So this network is like a brain, and we humans are like the neurons of that brain. So if we move through this network, we can move the information, and we can tie all the spots and to maintain this network connected. So this is the second part of my mission, which is to go to all these places and to reconnect them through time and space all the time. And as I said, it has to be in a moment where everything is a reflection. So that's why we have only 2 years to do that in this life. That's why I'm nervous. It is a day, but that day, nothing really happens. It's like 2012, December 21st, that everyone was crazy. Nothing happened. Why nothing happens? Because a lot of people meditated that day to align the process of evolution. That's why we are okay, basically. But many things changed that December, because thousands and thousands of people were thinking of that date. So that reconnected the network through the thinking. Yeah. So if nobody pay attention to that date, it's like nothing happened. But a lot of things happened. We were connected to that moment. So in order to do that, even if the calendar is horrible, our calendar is false, we can tell that the numbers are true and that day will happen something. But there are codes. Everything in the universe is code. So if this is a reflection of past and future, and we are here in the middle of the present, so we have to look for a date that is also like that, which is this date and this other date. You know, that is February 2nd, 2020 and February 22nd, 2022. In between those dates is the moment to reconnect, or H, to reconnect the time to 12, and space. Time, space. 12 is the dodecahedron. Dodecahedron is the shape. Is not here. Well, it's the next level of information in this shape here. The 12 phases of the planet. Yeah, the dodecahedron is the shape of space. Every planet and every reality is contained in 12 phases. So this 12 phases is related to space, and the 8 phases of time are related, of course, to time, the infinite. So in between here and here, we are going to be able to reconnect the time and space. That's why this is a code. Nothing really happens there unless a lot of people are connected to that moment. of time and space. So my mission, and I share it, is to help people to remember what happened 12,000 years ago, to remember where are we, to remember where are we going, and to put all these spots together, understanding the laws of the universe as I remember. So, and put all the information that everyone has in just one spot. So we could, in this time, reconnect this network of time and space in neutrality and make the network start to work again, like an engine. Yeah, it's like doing, yeah, it's like activating a machine. And this whole machine that we are gonna be activating is the Earth. Earth is a planet, but it is also a machine. It's a universal machine that helps in the evolution of the whole galaxy. It's a cell inside a body. The galaxy is a body, and this planet is a mother cell. Yeah? So if this planet evolves and activates its potential, activates the potential of the whole body. But if it doesn't, it became cancer. Yeah? Because it loses purpose. If that cell, this cell, loses purpose in this time and space, we became a cancer for the galaxy, or the healing of the galaxy. So that's why a lot of aliens are watching us all the time. They are just waiting for this cell to do the right thing. And they cannot do anything. They cannot intervene. Because if another cell intervened in another cell, it also became cancer. Yeah, or another illness. So they can just watch and give us information so we could understand what is happening around and what we have to do with that information around. So these dates are special dates to reconnect and reestablish that, and if we do so, the new information, like a network, it will be downloaded in every one of these spots, like we used to do in Atlantis. But we have to work on something that the last Atlanteans didn't work, which was the self. We had at that time the most important technology we ever reached, which was ourselves and our frequency. But we had not worked very well in ourselves as beings. So the Atlantean people, they were 12 families that were, their mission was to work on the 12 phases of the planet. So these people start to wonder, what happened if I'm the right one and the other ones no? What happened if they do whatever and I'm the only one that knows how to do it properly? So they start to control the rest. So they became an empire. So creating this empire, we only had one vision. And that's the problem. Because how do you build a geometry pattern just with one side? It's impossible. You need the reflection, so the opposite. You need the other ones to hold it. You need a lot of visions to create a network. It's the only way you can do it. There is not only an idea. You need many ideas to hold a reality. So the main problem we have at that time, it was that one of that civilizations, one of the 12 civilizations said, I am the one who has the truth. So you follow me and you will see that we are going to do it right. So that's why they fell down and disappeared. So this is kind of the problem we have now. Many countries thinking that they are best, and if one of those countries says we are the best and we are going to control the rest because we know how to do it, it will happen the same as Atlantis again. So that's kind of what is happening now. We also lived a switch of poles at that time, climate change and a lot of things happening, like exactly the same that is happening now. But there is something different. We are a lot more people. Like 8, how much?
Billion?
Billion? 8 billion. Well, we were like less than half at that time. And the 80% died, I guess. So we have to start again. So we are too many right now. So the thing is that we have different levels to understand this problem and this reality. We have multiple dimensions to understand this reality and this problem. So the thing is that if we only work in this problem through the third dimension, is the same like if a country rules the world. So there is no dimension that can save this dimension. We have to work all together. That's why we have to reconnect with ourselves in all dimensions, not only with other humans, but also with other beings that are ourselves in other dimensions. So that's why a lot of people in this spot are reconnecting with the guides, with the masters, with the spirits. We are channeling, we are remembering our lives, we are connecting with many gods and many other beings in other dimensions, because we are reconnecting to the network in order to understand ourselves in many dimensions and have many perspectives. That's why when somebody from the third dimension reconnects with the self, usually goes to the fourth dimension. We used to say that fourth dimension is really good because it's no time, no space. So we have a lot of information, but also a lot of confusion. The fourth dimension is the one with all the possibilities around. So we have all the people that is lost in all that possibilities. There is a lot of people that died and they don't know they are dead. So they still are living in that fourth dimension. So when you start to see fourth dimension, you won't see exactly no time and no space. You will see dead bodies or dead people. This is the first thing that you feel. Other beings around, walking, living their lives, and all that. When you connect with the fifth dimension, you will listen to the masters, the guides, and they will see and they will tell you, you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have to do this and this and this, because they can see everything, and they say, why are you here if you can go there? So they will tell you, you have to go there, follow this path and all that. Read this book and you will see the patterns all around. Then you go to the sixth dimension. When you connect with the sixth dimension, you will see that everything is code. That is when you can't listen your guides, you can't listen your masters, but you will pay attention to the time you wake up. 11:11, 12:12, the car plates. Yeah. Oh, the universe is trying to say something. You will see patterns all around. This is the sixth dimension. Sixth dimension is geometry. There's no emotion, just codes, just algebra. That's it. Then you get the seventh dimension. That's difficult, but you get the seventh dimension, which is enlightenment. It's that moment that everything doesn't matter. It's like, and everyone is laughing at that dimension. I remember. It's like constant orgasm, kind of. yeah, seventh dimension is enlightenment. So you can feel everything, and you are in the core of everything. You have here 6 points, so the seventh is in the center, so you can feel everything. You can feel everything that is connected to you. So nothing really matters at this point, but you can understand everything. And in this point, there's no movement, so there's no mission, there's no purpose. So then is when you realize that everything you do is just for fun, and not because you have to do it, because otherwise nothing will happen. In the seventh dimension, you will feel everything's okay. Is when you say that maybe there's an apocalypse outside, and you say, oh, it's perfect. That's the way to understand seventh dimension. And then you have the eighth dimension, when you can see every possibility and you can choose every possibility. You have everything around, and you can say this. You can check everything, all the possibilities. And then you have the ninth dimension, which is the divine, the most important, when you reconnect with the God you have within. So this dimensions doesn't have any meaning with the second and the first one, that we used to forget, because we don't pay attention to the second and the first one, because we believe that we came from them and they would be less important than the other ones. But the universe is not a line. The universe is a sphere. So you're not going there from here. This is not the way you go in evolution. The way you go in evolution is like this and this and this and this, kind of like that. So there's no up and low in this system. So the second dimension is the duality, and duality is the only way you can create. So if you became the whole, the creator, in the ninth dimension, you will need the second dimension to create a new reality, because it's positive and negative, feminine, masculine. You need the duality to create dark and light all the time, up, below, right, yeah, and left. Everything is two. So second dimension is important to create. And why you create? Because you are one. Because you are the one. So the first dimension is not something below. The first dimension is the most important, is the unity. So we are all going to the first dimension, and we are all coming from the first dimension. Is the first, the unity. So you have to see the ninth dimension and then go through the 3 times of every dimension, which is first dimension, second dimension. It means to inspire, to contemplate, and to exhale, create in every dimension. I have to put myself in the core of every dimension and say, I am unity, yeah, I am duality, I am trinity, I am the fourth, the time and space, I am the master, I am the creator, I am enlightenment, yeah. It's like putting yourself in every point, and the same you do here, like this, like doesn't matter the race of the people, doesn't matter the nationality, the culture, we are all one. When we say we are all one, is the first dimension, but we can't understand what is all one. We think that it's all mixed together, and it is not unity. This is chaos, this is whatever. It's fun, but this is not unity. Unity is when you realize that the other people is you reflected in thousands of times. So it's not we are all one. No, it's me reflected into many. So this is the only way you can understand the difference between unity and being together. Together is to put members together, and unity is to recognize that I am those parts. So this is one of the most difficult things to understand, and this is one of the things that makes civilizations and cultures fall down all the time. So that's why it's important to understand the basis of the universe. The 9 dimensions, the 3 tools we have, the 4 basements of the universe. We need to understand all the beings that we are in many dimensions and many levels, how not to be controlled, but to be the time and space, how to use geometry to understand the purpose, how to how to put order into emotions. And all that things then moving in the reality, how to connect the network in this planet. Because we decided to be in this planet, we created this planet, we designed this planet, so we have to work and move inside this planet. There's no way to help this planet outside this planet. The only way is to be in here alive and to do stuff here in this planet. It's our responsibility because we have created this planet. So at the moment you see this reality as something you will learn from and you will enjoy. So the mission and the purpose start to be like a game, and you start to get fun by doing it, not like heavy on the shoulders. It's getting fun because you create it. So you are the one that can change it. You are the one that can choose which path you can take, but it takes responsibility. And the responsibility is that you can only choose a path according to the frequency you have. It's impossible to say, I want to be one with the self, but when I go back home, I can't stand my parents, for example, or my partner. It's like incoherence. Yeah, the frequency is not right, and also it's not right trying to be good all the time, because we are positive and negative, and if we do not work on the positive and negative all the time, so we stuck a lot of energy from here below, and all this frequency here starts to create like an energetical cancer. It's like horrible to hold this, and suddenly when you enlight, you will do this, and you will find yourself in the genitals with all this energy that you hadn't used because you were trying to be good and enlightened. Because enlightenment is here, it's not there. Enlightenment is the point, the middle point in between the darkness, the creation, and the clarity of the spirit. So it's a closed circuit. It's not going up or going down. It's like this. All the time. Because the core is the only thing important. So there's nothing outside this. Nothing. The everything is just a projection from this shape. Nothing else. So that's why when we look enlightenment, we used to see the sun, or we look for the Father in the sky. Because this is cultural or biological, because we see the sun in the sky, so we believe that the light is up. But when you go out the planet, you will see that the sun is in the center. It's not up. So it's in the center, and everyone is moving around. It's not going straight. Because if you go straight, you die. The only way is to dance around. So also, enlightenment is not something that we have to get. It's something that just happened during the dancing. Yeah. So that those things also help us to know that even if we have these dates that we have to do stuff, there are many other dates when we can do it. It's not just this time, because I don't know if it happens to you, but have you heard that every year in the history was the year? Yeah, it used to happen. 2012, oh, this is the time. But when it was 666, they also thought that that was a year, and nothing happened. And 1000 also, and before Jesus Christ too. We always think that this is a year, because time and space are always in the same spot. So that's why every moment is the moment to do that. Unless, so we have night, but we know that the sun is always there. So it doesn't matter when we do that, because the sun is always there. But there is a moment for our mind that is better to do a sun breathing, which is on the sunset, the sunrise, the sunset and sunrise, both. So we have a time, specific time, that we know that the sun will give us light specifically for us. So that means this. But the sun will rise again and again and again and again, and it's always there. So you can do it whenever you want. We can reconnect whenever we feel. It doesn't matter. But there are moments that, even if you are conscious or unconscious, you know that the sun is rising. So that's why the universe set some moments and some spots to put them all together, to put us all together. So this time is only special because we are in the reflection of the end of that civilization and the birth of this civilization, which we don't know yet, but it's happening. So, so we are in the middle of that point. And the middle of that point is not 2020. The middle of that spot is like 200 or 300 years in between here. So 300 years to do that change. The change started in 1912 or 1914. Around that age started the change. And it will finish in 2200 something, I guess. This is, we call the transition of present in between this process. Then we have another process, 10,000 years here. So my great-grandsons or great-daughters will have to work on this problem 10,000 years ago. But this is their problem, not mine. So we have to solve this problem now. So this thing of reflection helps us to understand that we are not the center of everything, but we are the center of what we have to solve now. So if we don't do that, it will be difficult for the next ones to do the job, like it is for us now, because it would be easier for us doing this healing process of the planet and reconnection of the consciousness if we don't have to heal our parents' problems, our grandfather's problems, do all the genealogical tree to understand where the problems have begun, do the healing by decodification, yeah, to understand the blood patterns, the illness, and all these things that we were 2,000 years hiding that information, and now we have to heal it all together. So that's why we are the generation that heals the other generations behind. We are all the time healing things emotionally and physically because nobody paid attention to that before. So we have to do that in order to make easier the process for the next ones to come. So we clean all the history, so our daughters and sons in the future can do it quicker and connect it with the self and not trying to solve these problems here. Yeah, so so we have a very important responsibility in the present, which is healing the past through the tools of the future. So that's why we have to reconnect all this, because we screw it up here. So we have to do it again. So as I said, we have 3 moments and 3 spaces. The first space, the first moment is the past, and the first space is ourselves. We have to work in ourselves before everything. The second is our civilization. A civilization is not just something of humans and this planet. Civilization is something, is an idea, and is like thoughts of the earth. If we, as humans, are neurons in the consciousness of earth, so civilizations are the thoughts. So today we have a planet that has schizophrenia, yeah, because everyone do whatever they want. So we have many thoughts that are against each other. They are in fight inside the same mind. So we have, first of all, to work in our own schizophrenia, which is the reconnection. Because when you reconnect as a spiritual being, you will see that you are not only this person, but you are also another person in the 4th dimension, in the 5th dimension, in the 6th dimension, in the 2nd dimension, the 1st dimension. So you are so many different beings in just one that you became a little bit crazy. Yeah, that happens to all of us when we get spiritual. Because we are so many beings until we realize that all those beings are just one. And then we breathe and we are ready. At that moment, we know that every past life is not ourselves. It's not us in other lives. There are other projections of ourselves. And we are projections of something else. So when we realize that, and we realize that we are just projections of one spot, and we connect to that spot of the universe and breathe in that, we will recognize the only truth of the whole universe, which is I am. And I am is the most important word you can ever say. And without name, just I am. I am all of this. So, this is myself in the space, and in time is the past. Why is the past? Because me here is the construction of the past. Because I am the result of it. So, all the process of evolution, since we were in the ocean, and every being within is in our blood, is in our memory inside. So in order to, so we are now a living past. That's what we are. With every reflection, everything that I have, I used to say that, for example, my grandfather, grandfather, he is Italian. He was Italian when he's Italian sometime. He was Italian for me. He was Italian, and I said, but I have the same problems that he had. And I said, why I have the same problems that he had? Because I can't stop doing this with my hand. I'm Italian. Yeah, I'm Argentinian, but I'm Italian. Because he is Italian and he tries to tell me something. So I need to move my hands to explain myself something, and I'm not like that. He is moving me. So I'm a living past. Yeah. So we are all like that. We are living past. That's why we have to work ourselves as in the past. The present is a civilization, is the thought that we have created all together, our cultural being now. So we have to change civilization because the thinking is changing in the planet. So we have to change according to the new thoughts of the planet. The planet is recognizing who she is. So she's trying to think, who am I? She's asking that. So everybody in the world suddenly starts to ask, who am I? Because the planet is asking that, not humans. We are just the reflection of what she is doing. She is reconnecting with herself, so she's asking. So that's why many cultures around the world are asking the same and seeing that the civilization doesn't have a purpose. It's like, what are we doing? Why the system is like this? Why don't we change the way of living? Why don't we change civilization, politics, economics? Because this is a reaction of the planet thinking of change. So our responsibility as beings is to change ourselves in order to change civilization. It's not to work ourselves and then enlighten ourselves and go away from this planet. Because when we enlighten and go to the seventh dimension, you can see the whole, and there is when you decide, okay, I will come back to tell them that it is cool. It's so cool that you have to feel it. So we came here again, and that's why when you reconnect with the truth, that why I came here again. It was just to say that it was fun. So civilization is the system, the culture of humanity is one of the things that we have to change in the present in order to help the reconnection of every being around. And we have then the future. And the future is all that information that we receive from other dimensions. Because all this information came from the future. Because it's vibrating so fast that it can be really far in the future. So it brings solutions for the present, but they are solutions created in the future. That's why we can understand them here. The only way you can understand them here is if you already healed yourself in the past and live the present. So you are coherent. The process of being coherent is to act, to think, feel, and act in the same frequency. That's the thing. So we are not coherent if we think something, but our body is doing this. Yeah? Because maybe my mind is talking about being like this, but my body is doing this. Yeah? And naturally, I had this incoherence in between my body and my mind. So to be in the present is to be coherent with the three aspects of the being. So that's why it's important to heal the self before we can create or we can apply the solutions that are coming from the future. That's why when we start to channeling, the messages doesn't have any sense. Maybe they are like words or ideas or dreams or weird stuff that we have no idea what they are until it happened in the future. So we start to understand in the future that solutions that we receive from here. So in order to receive these solutions, we have to be very wide open mind. Otherwise, you can't, because the mind of the future can see problems and solutions of the problems that we don't even live yet. So that's why to help others, you have to be really wide open to the future. So the future is something that is happening right now, but it depends on what we do here. And all of this has just one language, which for the ancient people, it was just frequency. So if you are in the past, the sound you will hear is all down, like everything is down. So that's why you feel heavy and depressed when you are connected to the past. And then in the present, it's like it's all the time like connected in the middle. So it's something that connects you with the heart because it's the same frequency. And this is so high that you can hear it. It's like so high that you can't hear it. Maybe dogs. Maybe the dogs can see the future. So the frequency is so high that you can see it. That's why we say the future doesn't happen yet, but it is happening. The frequency of the future, it is happening. The only thing that makes us live the future is if we connect with the same frequency in coherence. That's why I said that the neutral people used to come to help you to choose which future according to the frequency you came from. It's just to organize frequencies. It's like music. The universe works like music. It's an orchestra, something like that. So that's why 12,000 years ago the technology that we used was the music. That was the technology. Today is a hobby, but it will be a technology again in the future because it's the only way to communicate through time and space, frequencies. So that's why one of the works we have to do is to work in our own frequencies, to be balanced in ourselves all the time. Frequencies, sound, and feel the frequencies all around body, feel the emotions that moves every frequency, and we will start to realign in between past, present, and future. So in between these years, we will work with frequency all around the planet, traveling through many spots of the planet to bring that frequency in the sound and the I am mantra to the core of the geometry that creates the planet, which are specific points, 33 points around the planet, around the network. So that's what I'm going to do in that time, traveling around the planet, and trying to remember the parts that 2,000 years ago I forgot how to connect. So the thing is that I'm explaining all this because most of you, for sure, had lived in that time, and you were part of these civilizations that were trying to reconnect with the self, but we couldn't do it anymore because the cycle was finished. The night began, so we had to go to sleep and go to our unconscious. So that's why now we are awaking again, but we are still in bed. We just have one eye open, and we're just doing this, cleaning the other eye. So we are just trying to understand the reality. So that's why we cannot blame what is happening now. It's the process of awakening. In the process of awakening, there are people that awakes happy and say, oh, this will be a good day. And most of the people have to work 8 hours after wake up, go to the job and all that. So they are not happy. So that's why a lot of the people are awakening, but they are afraid of waking up. So they don't want to wake up. They want to keep dreaming. And that's not the problem. So I used to say that we are not the ones that have to wake them up, like, hey, wake up, like crazy, because you have to wake up. You are in the matrix, like screaming to the other ones to wake up into the consciousness. I rather be the one that prepared the breakfast. Yeah. So when the other one wakes up, can smile because they have the breakfast already. Yeah. So I rather be one of the people that work on doing the breakfast and not pushing the other ones to wake up before they are ready. So that's why I'm trying to explain this, not to push people to wake up, but to remember to those that are waking up how to help others to understand when they wake up, maybe in 200 years. We are going to be here for sure. Again, this is not easy. No, it's not just for one life job. So, so I don't know if you have any questions. For sure. I was trying to make a resume of everything, but maybe there are a lot of questions or things that I hadn't spoken. So I don't know if you wanted to add something. Yeah.
So what would you tell everybody? The one thing to go, something they can do in their life tomorrow, or to tell somebody who's, you know, making the breakfast, waking people up is doable. But something like
something easier to help the others to.
What's the best way? Work on ourselves.
Well, the best way to help others or to help ourselves? There are three ways, three tools that are the best and are really easy. The one is for the body, the other one for the soul, and the other one for the spirit. The one for the body is to change the way you eat. So but not pushing the other ones to change, but explaining them how good you feel when you eat different, is reflection. You cannot break the how do you say?
Cycle.
No, the reflection, the glass, the
Mirror.
You cannot break the mirror. You can do something and see how the reflection reacts. Yeah, it's the only way. You cannot push the other one. So if you say, okay, I'm going to change, the only way I can change the other ones is if you change first. So you can change the way you eat. Why is that? Because you are what you eat. So your blood will enlight if you have more light. And what does have more light? Plants, seeds, fruits. Yeah, they make photosynthesis, so they have light straight. They don't have emotions like we have. They have tiny emotions, so they don't have the mumble emotions. So you don't have to process too much information, so you can only process your own information, not others. So that's when you start to eating more vegetables and fruits and seeds, your blood starts to enlighten naturally. So you are more light, you are more clarified. But there are vegetarians and vegetarians. The vegetarians that feels the body, and the vegetarians that feels the mind. Because when you became a vegetarian because of animal rights, but you don't have rights for your body, because your body maybe is a Neanderthal yet. Yeah. So maybe your mind is here, but your body is here, and your body say, "I need blood," and the mind says, "No, this is wrong." Yeah. But if you go against your machine, everything goes wrong. So you have to talk with the machine. So that's why a lot of people that became vegetarian because of the mind, then they are people that get mad of everything, or sad, or they are low, or they can't communicate with the others because they get crazy. Yeah. So you have to talk to your body and ask the body, what do I need? Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one, which is for the soul, is emotions. The only way you can order emotions is by breathing. So it's easy, breathe. But breathe properly. Is nose, only nose. This was made for breath, this is for eating. So this is all the time and very deep. You know when you're crazy and someone says, breathe deep. Naturally we do that. We say breathe deep. Is to order the emotions. So every time that you feel an emotion, it's like, don't react, just feel where it is and exhale the energy, and all the time breathing. So when somebody says or see you, or son or daughter sees you react like that in front of a problem, they will do the same. But if you say, you have to be problem, they will never do it. So you have to breathe. No, they will never. Nobody learned about teaching from teaching. Everyone learned from practice. So breathing properly. And the spirit, the third one, is laugh a lot. Because the only way you can connect with the spirit is with joy. So you have to laugh, laugh, laugh. Not to be like this all the time. This is a way to, but it's like a car, but it's not the spirit. So you have to laugh a lot. So when you laugh a lot, the other ones laugh a lot, and they start to reconnect with the clarity of the reality. So you don't have to explain about nothing, spirits, souls, and geometry, and the planet being aware. You don't have to just, and that's it. And then the others will respond by reflection. Yeah. So those three tools, I guess, they're the best. No relation ball. Any question or something?
If everything goes well by 2022,
Yeah.
what could we expect?
Well, we won't have democracy, I hope.
Whoa.
No. I suppose in 2024, the sun will have a change in the magnetism, I guess. So it will change the magnetism of planet Earth. So it will download a lot of information that we are not having it now. So if it is properly done, that information will come to the network and it will be easier to download. And what is that information? That information comes from the future about new systems of society that can allow us to be more aligned with the process of evolution of Earth. So what I know is that the civilization will become more biological. So it won't be democracy. Democracy is just a practice to freedom, but it is not freedom. It's a practice. And then will be another systems to practice more freedom, which is not anarchism. It's other things, but it will be like crazy in the middle. And then we will have to work a lot on ourselves for the next systems to come. So the planet population will be low. Maybe in 2050, maybe it would be like ice age, or the beginning of an ice age, to clarify the global warming. So I don't recommend to live in Europe at that time, neither Alaska. But like a change to the planet is good, for humanity is bad, but the planet will be like, oh, like doing this. So so it will be a really switch on that, and also the low population will help us to reorganize the civilization in a better way. The thing is that there will be a lot of fights or war, maybe a third world war. It's expected. It's not supposed to happen, but it's expected because humanity has this frequency level of of beliefs that the only way they can change their lives is by being pushed towards the edge. So suffering. I don't know why. Well, yeah, it's a way of surviving, but humanity has recorded on the blood that every good change that we have for better was because of suffering. So we recorded that, and we think that if we suffer, we will be better. For example, First World War, the second one, they brought a lot of things, good things, yeah, that we evolved a lot. So that things in the wars, they made us believe that this is the only way to be better, to suffer. So this is still on the plan. So we will have to work a lot to change the consciousness of the planet of thinking that suffering is the way to learn better.
Yeah.
So this is, but it will be like crazy the next 50 years. Yeah, it really will be fun.
Doesn't sound like fun.
Changes are fun.
Do you want to, I know you're doing more in English now, and do you want to just
Fine.
give them the website that you're building more on English, if they
Yeah.
want to follow?
Yeah, I will. Well, I don't have it much English. Maybe this is the only video more complete that I have. But we did a website which is called like this.
Yo soy.
I am. Yo soy in Spanish. I put it in Spanish because it's a palindrome. Yeah. You can read it as a reflection. That's why I once asked my guides, if you wanted me to talk to the world, why I don't speak English? Why I speak Spanish? and they said, because Spanish naturally has the I am as a reflection. So you have to say it all the time. So that's why I named Yo soy in Spanish. It's a palindrome. And in Spanish there's this sentence which is very, very important, which is reconocer que somos seres yo soy. To recognize that we are beings, I am. But if you read it in Spanish, the whole sentence is a palindrome. Reconocer, to recognize, is the same. That we are is the same. Beings is the same, and I am the same. Yeah. So maybe that's why I
What's
speak
it,
Spanish.
what is it again?
What?
What is it again? The same?
The sentence?
Yes. In
To
Spanish.
en Spanish. Reconocer que somos seres yo soy. So, not red. Red is not color. It in Spanish means network, the web. So, so here is everything is explained in English. The project is explained in English, and there's video explaining everything in English too. Yeah,
Is this video going to be put online where we can look at it?
it is now online
On Facebook.
in
Your
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah,
And what is your Facebook?
it's my name.
What's
I
your
will- I
name?
will
Because
write
we
it
just
down.
introduced your first name, well,
What?
not your full
We
name.
didn't
Write
tell.
your full name down.
Yeah, wait. Full name.
Well,
Italian.
What is on Facebook?
Huh?
What is on Facebook?
What is?
Your
What
name.
is on it?
Oh yeah, it's
Oh.
my name.
And remember to tell them it has to be the purple one. Because you have a
Yes, because there are another one.
Well, that are person.
Space.
Yeah. Space in between this.
Not
There's
the-
a
just the one space there, not between the S and the D.
yeah. It's like Italian.
Okay.
So yeah, there is a purple logo, like this. This is the code, like this. this is we the librarians, we were signing with the feather and an eye, because we were the ones that saw everything and wrote everything.
Is this at the Akasha Records?
Akasha Records.
Yeah, he worked there.
I used to work in the Akasha Records, not anymore, but I'm here. But I used to be one of the beings that brought information from one spot to another, so the souls could understand stuff.
How would you define time in this geometry?
Time. Time is, if space are the lines and spot that creates the shapes, time is the movement. It's like the ocean of the universe. So time is only one, but it's only one, and you have the past in the cold water, very deep, then the present in the middle where everything is at the same distance, and then the future, which is very changing above the waves. So it's like an ocean is the way to understand the time. So we have this feeling or this belief that the time is something that you are coming from and you are going to, but it is not like that. It is a movement, constant movement of the universe. That's why the time is not a day and night. The time is the Earth rotating around the sun, which is totally different from what we expect about time. So it's just a perspective of reality, but it is not real. It's just a perspective of change. And the space is the projection of the perspectives. Everything is mind. Nothing is real. Nothing that exists is real. It's just perception of the mind. So that's a problem for us because we want to be real, some stuff. But to understand the time and space, the better way to do that is to go to the nothing, the void. Because the void has every answer to everything. It's the only way. Because everything has so many things that can confuse. But the void can explain you better what is the time. It's nothing. It's the void itself. Yeah. So we are as I said before, I want to talk to myself in other dimension, and I was asking about my purpose, how to accomplish my purpose, and my higher self said, "What purpose? It doesn't exist. You don't have one." And I said, "So, but I have one here." And I said, "Oh, yeah, sure." yeah, sure. There you have one. But and you can do it. But I said, but so why do we have this purpose? And the thing and the whole thing said, because you were afraid of eternity. So we had to split eternity into pieces, so you could accomplish things and not be afraid of that you are endless. So we are so afraid of endless that we put limits, and that we call purpose and mission, time and space. So it's just a perspective. There's nothing real. Yeah. You have to teach everything. Yeah.
Is there any significance to 12,000 years? Why that number?
Well, it means 12,000 is a circle of you have 24,000 years and something else of the whole circle of constellations. So the sun takes 24,000 years to go through every constellation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the sun is moving, and it have like 2,200 years crossing through every constellation. So that's like 24,000 years around the whole turn. So 12,000 is the half. So you have 6 constellations and other 6 constellations which are the reflection of time. So every constellation has 12,000 years of difference to accomplish a purpose. So 12,000 years ago we were in Leo, the constellation of Leo. So the whole system was based on Leo. That's why we had the problem. Everyone was king. Everyone was the best. Everyone wanted to rule. So that's why Atlantis fell down. Atlantis was built in Virgo, the Virgin. So the constellation of Virgo. They were really organized. They projected everything. They knew how to do the stuff. They had everything prepared, and suddenly Leo became and said, "I will do it better," and then fell down.
That's a great explanation.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's what happened.
That's a perfect
So
explanation.
now, 12,000 years after that, we are in Aquarius. Yeah, the opposite of Leo. So Aquarius is the one that have to accomplish what Leo hasn't accomplished. So that's why the next 2,000 years will be very technological and very connected to everyone, and very peaceful, and how do you say in English? Well, and you don't care about anything. You know, Aquarius people is like
Nonchalant.
indifference.
Yeah.
Like, there's a problem. Okay, I don't care. Yeah, you do another thing, or I have better things to do that solve your problems. That's Aquarius. So that's why it will be like very. It's a time for youth. It's a time for technology, for innovation, constant innovation. But we have to solve the problems of Leo. So that's it.
What is 12,000 ahead?
Ahead, it will be Leo for us
It
again.
will be Leo again. Okay.
Yeah, for us, for our problem now and what we are doing, we are working for a next Leo where the lion doesn't want to rule the others, but rule itself.
Okay.
Yeah? So we have to work on that for the next 2,000 years, 12,000. Yeah. It's nothing. It's just dying 100 times. It's easy. So the good thing is that living this planet is short time. It's like 80 years or something. So it's short time. And when you go out your body, you are in the 4th dimension or 5th dimension. So the time is totally relative. So maybe you are here in just 5 minutes. You know, so that's why I say maybe you don't have to live 100 lives to get here. Maybe you die now and suddenly you are born in Leo again, but 12,000 years ahead. That's the relativity of time. The time is nothing. It's just, but you can be lost in this. That's why people attach to the life, because they don't know what's going to happen after they die. I used to give this advice to people that know that they are going to die. Smile a lot before you die, because everything that happens after that is a projection of what you felt at the last moment. Yeah, because it's mine. So if you die laughing or with a smile, everything will be fine after that. If you die like sad or heavy, you will live a little bit more of that in the fourth dimension. So, but if you die saying, I will be in Leo 2,000 years after that, suddenly you are here. Yeah. So it's the shortest way. The shortest way. Well. Okay. I don't know if you have any question or it's 9. So, well, I promise I will have more things in English, and I will try to organize myself to share more information in English. And
Let me give some news.
okay, so well, some news.
Yeah.
News. Well, first.
Thank you.
The news is our next presentation is the Conscious Society Foundation. He's been invited to be the main speaker at Buckminster Fuller's memorial in Penang, Malaysia this July. So we'll be traveling to Penang, and he'll be giving a talk there with some actual geometric
Mr. Fuller.
that Bucky actually made, which is
Wow.
very exciting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming here and sharing. I would like to I used to speak a lot and to ask more questions and to answer more questions, but we only have 2 hours. So maybe next time
We'll have another.
we'll have a
event
workshop
here.
or something like that to share more and to speak more. Well, thank you for coming and for giving the space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matías.
And
Oh, nice.
let's keep living.
Yeah.
All right, where does Gemini fit in all of this?
Oh, what?
Where does Gemini fit in all of this?
What's
Gemini is one of those.
Oh, Gemini. Oh, that was a really weird area. That was
You wanna stop this?
oh yeah, sure.
You can tell me at home.